Hello everyone, it's Dr. Springer. Just doing the re-recording for everyone to kind of go over the course room. Just give you a little bit of history on me. I was prior Navy. I was a hospital corpsman for about 8 years. Served on both blue as well as green side. I was deployed to Iraq 2004-2005, and I separated from the military in 2007. Since then, I've worked in various avenues of the laboratory, both on the manufacturing side as well as within the hospital. Currently, right now, I am the Director of Laboratory Services for a mid-sized level health system within Minnesota. So I'm over the main hospital as well as its satellite facilities. So I kind of have more of the laboratory background. But enough about me. What we're going to be covering is kind of the main points that I wasn't able to hit upon with the audio issues in the live seminar this past Thursday. So we're looking at this class. This class is a little bit different than what you're used to. This class is a capstone course. So it is formatted a little bit differently. So with your live seminars, what you're used to with most of your courses, the live seminars do have a grade on them. With this, the live seminars are not graded, but I do highly encourage you to attend them if you can, because we do go over some of the prior work documentation, which I'll go over a little bit here, just kind of give you a little bit of a taste, and we'll go over it in the next live seminar a little bit more in depth. So for the live seminars, we do go over those aspects. But also, I will have a lecture with each one of them going over certain content that relates to that week and that week's assignment. So while those are not graded, again, you should still look to review those either in the archive, because they are going to be recorded, and those recordings are available, I believe, 12 hours immediately after the initial recording. So if we're having ours at 9 p.m. at night, it should be available 9 a.m. the next morning for you. There is some processing that Kaplan has to do with those. So they will be available within the archive the next morning for you to review for that. Or also, you can always go ahead and attend. I do know it's tough to make those, but if you do attend, you can ask some live questions, things like that. So it might be a little bit better for you if you have some questions in that. So that's one of the things that's a little bit different with this course. The other thing is there are discussions each week, but they are not graded. Again, we highly encourage that you do those discussions because, again, it has the participation aspects in there, but also we're going to be covering some of the concepts that we're looking at and that we're talking about during the week. So it's going to be helpful for you to look at those discussion boards because they're more in kind of a practice sense that makes you think about that topic a little bit deeper in application versus how the assignment makes you think about it within the actual concept of it. So definitely look to go ahead and be involved within those. But again, those are not graded as well. The one thing we have graded in this course is your assignments. So you have 10 assignments throughout the entire course, each worth 100 points. So it will behoove you to make sure you get your assignments in because, as you know, with not having a lot of points in the course, one assignment can definitely hurt you in terms of the grade-wise if you don't turn it in. So make sure you get those assignments in on time. The due dates for the assignments are located within the task listing themselves. When you look at the assignment listing for each unit, but they are due every Tuesday. So Unit 1 started last week, so the assignment will be due this coming Tuesday. But again, if you look at the email that I had sent out, I did push that due date back a little bit for you guys till next Thursday because we had those issues. So the first unit's assignment will be due next Thursday. From then on, we'll be on that every Tuesday schedule. So make sure you are aware of that and you have that on your calendar so you don't forget those due dates. Also, too, when we're looking at this, and let me see, bring up the course room here for you so you can see it on the screen here. But one of the things here is we have up at top here, we have doc sharing. It's a little bit hard to see on my Mac here, but if you click the doc sharing button, it'll go ahead and open up, and there's a lot of resources in here. I have some of the APA quick guide, this is probably the best quick guide that you will find for the APA 6th edition in terms of margins, the paper structure, the the headers as well as the citations. So definitely take a look at that. I have a PowerPoint on the citations themselves. I also have an example of a properly formatted APA paper for you. So definitely look at that. And then right here is prior work documentation table. So I have this because I develop it, kind of give you guys a little bit of idea for each unit what will be accepted. You see, for week 1, we don't have any of the prior work documentation that will be accepted, and for week 4, all the other weeks there will be prior work documentation accepted, and we will go over that in week 2's live seminar. But essentially, with prior work documentation, it has to be a specific document that I say meet the standards. So we will go over those next week. But essentially, the process for this is once we discuss what meets standards, if you find it within your training record, you would scan it, have a picture of it, whatever, and you will email it to me. Okay, you will email me that documentation requesting approval for it. So you email it first. Okay, it comes to me. I go ahead and open the email. I look over it. If it meets standards, I'm going to email you back saying, looks good. Please go ahead and upload that. Once you get that message from me, then you go ahead and upload it to the Dropbox for that assignment. Then you're done. You get 100%. Okay? So that's how the prior work documentation works. But it is a requirement per Kaplan and this course that you send me the email for pre-approval. You cannot simply just upload it. Even if it is verbatim what is accepted, we don't care. You need to email it to me first for the prior approval, okay? If not, you may not receive credit for that assignment. You need to get my prior approval for it. It is a course requirement for it. So step 1 is to find your documentation. Step 2 is to email it to me to get the approval to say yes, please go ahead and upload it. Once I email you that approval back, and I do respond to emails fast, so don't worry about that. And then step 3 is to upload it to the Dropbox for that assignment. Now, with attendance in this course, it's really tracked by your weekly assignments. So each week when you upload an assignment, you are tracked for attendance. That's your attendance for that week. So make sure you turn your assignments in on time in each week. Also, you cannot work ahead. Okay, you must work within the prescribed week. You cannot say, I want to turn in week 4 and we're on week 2. That does not work in this course. You have to work within the week because of how the attendance is tracked. Okay, so for example, if you were to look at the prior work documentation and just turn in everything and think you're done with the course, well, how Kaplan works is if you don't show attendance within 21 days, you are automatically disenrolled from the course. You may have turned in all of your assignments, but guess what? Because you weren't in attendance, that's not going to count. They're going to go ahead and automatically disenroll you from the course, and that happens automatically in the background. So you must work within the prescribed week that we are on. There are some exceptions to that, but you will need to contact me for those. If you're going to be in the field or if you're getting deployed, there are some exceptions to those, but they're really all within that kind of realm. So it's important that you not work ahead because it can bite you in the butt in the end, okay? You can, of course, look ahead in this table and see what may be, accepted, and you can go in and say, okay, week 6 we have, the customer service one. So I'm going to go ahead and at least find in my training record, and I'm going to have it here just hanging out until we're on that week, just to make it easier on yourself. So you can, by all means, do that, but you cannot seek approval and then upload them all at once, okay? Also, too, when you email me a document for approval, it's one document at a time. Do not upload your entire training document and say, hey, doc, what works? Because I will respond and say, none of it does. Send me the one that you feel works best, and then email it to me, okay? When you email it, it has to have the unit in it. So one unit at a time, one document at a time. This is easier for me for the tracking purposes. Plus, it avoids people bulk uploading stuff and saying, hey, what works? You have to sort that out for yourself depending upon the information that I give you for that week, because I will help you narrow it down and give you some specific guidelines as to what's going to work. Okay? That's why it will behoove you to not only try to make the live chats, but to watch the recordings each week for them, so you have an idea on that prior work documentation. We'll go over a little bit more in week 2, and we'll discuss actually in week 2 what will work for prior work documentation on that assignment. Okay? Now, for those of you who may not be used to the courses here, so when you click on the unit tab here, what comes up is this little handy dandy window right here. We have the readings, discussions, all that stuff. The assignment listing is, if you click on this tab, it'll bring you to a new screen, and you just go ahead and click the view and print one. Here's the assignment, Unit 1 assignment, okay? So it has the course outcomes, all those aspects, and it has the instructions. Identify 2 healthcare problems with mathematical solutions. An actual or hypothetical situation may be used for example. Okay, we always want to, if you're using hypothetical, if you're using an actual scenario that you may have been involved in, that you scrub that for HIPAA. We don't want any of patient names and stuff in there. Make sure it's all scrubbed. Okay. And what you're going to do is basically going to begin to give a brief summary of that situation, and then how the mathematics is used within it, and give some rationales to why this is important in your scope of practice. Okay, so 2 of those in the mathematical aspect. Now it has to be 2 to 6 pages of content. That excludes the title page and the reference page. Now 2 pages does not simply mean 1 full page and then 1/2 of a paragraph on page 2. 2 entirely, completely full pages. I will dock you if you have 1.5 pages and you say, well, I have a page 2. Yes, you have a page 2, but it's not a full page of content. So it has to be minimum 2 to 6 pages of content. Now, if you have 3 pages, if you have 2.5 pages, then of course that's fine, because you've met the 2-page minimum. It's to meet that minimum. If you have 1.5 pages, you do not have 2 full pages. Okay, so be sure on that. And your references and your title page do not count within that page count number. Okay. Now references. References are expected and they must be included on these assignments. Okay. Regardless of if you know the information or not, it's not common knowledge. It may be common knowledge to you, but it's not common knowledge to everyone. The term common knowledge covers things like, when is Christmas? Who is the president? When is the 4th of July? That stuff is common knowledge. We don't need to have some references for that stuff. We do need to have references for having a mathematical problem in healthcare, or how to do an IV drip, things like this, or how to do like a pediatric dosing. You should have references for those. If you do not include references in your written assignments, it's an automatic 10 points off the top, okay? Because those are important. We need those. So even if you know the information, you're going to have to go and find some references that will help support that, okay? And references have to be scholarly, okay? Textbooks, things like, manuals and stuff like that, but things like, like the Wikipedia or Yahoo Answer or eHow, those are not references, okay? We want scholarly healthcare references, okay? Stuff that has some actual, validity in it. So let's look at those aspects there when you're looking at those reference, of course, so we all should know that by now. So none of the Wikipedia, none of the eHow, none of the Yahoo Answers. Look to things like journals, textbooks. You can have some sources, like the Mayo Clinic's a good source, or, like the CDC, things like that. Things that have some weight within the healthcare realm are going to be useful in there. So here's what your task assignments look like. Okay, so you'll have the assignment listed there. You have the requirements. On like one with the prior work documentation, you will see where it has option A, option B. You'll have the prior work documentation, which you'll see one next week, and we'll go over that aspect with it. And then it has the rubric information in there for that assignment. Okay, so that's how you access the assignment aspects. Okay, so that's kind of the basic layout of the course room here. We have the discussion area there too, where of course each one has that discussions. There may be a part 1 and part 2 of it. They may look at some of the topics within them. And then look at the doc sharing. There's some good information in the doc sharing. Also, too, pay attention to the announcements. I would recommend logging in at least once a day to try to. I know it can be tough sometimes, but try to log in at least once a day, because I will post some announcements up here. I may post some links on, some interesting stuff that may relate to the actual, like topic we're covering, things like that. Or I may have announcements like this where we have the live seminar issues. When we have some issues that may affect the entire class, I will always post within the course room, but then I'll also go ahead and send out a all hands email for you too. So definitely look for that. My email does go to my iPhone, so I do respond very, very quickly. Also too, when you look at this, we go to the course room here, and you look at my welcome to class notice, you'll see my cell phone number down there. You can text me if you have a question. That is not a problem with me. You can go ahead and email me, or you can go ahead and call me. If you do call me, it may roll to voicemail simply because during the day I'm in a lot of meetings, so I usually don't answer my phone. But between meetings, I will go ahead and pick it up, and I'll go to the voice message, and I will of course review it, and then either go ahead and send you an email, text, or whatever, or give you a quick call back to kind of address your question there. So if you do call me and I don't answer, please leave a voicemail. Leave a detailed voice message of your name, your class, because I do teach at some other universities, so it's always good to know what class you are in right away. I can always go to the roster and see, but it's always good to know that you're in my HS290 course. If I can think of the title there, it's right in front of me. Sorry about that. And then just go ahead with whatever your question may be. And of course, text works great too. I know that's easier for some people, and I'm still young. I'm still in my early 30s, so I do text. So you can go ahead and text me, and I will get right back to you on that as well too. You will probably see a faster response via text and email than you will from phone, just because of my schedule. It's a lot easier for me to return an email or a text within a meeting than it is to pull out my phone and talk while the CEO is going over some number projections or something like that. So definitely look to use those as your first lines of contacting me. So those are the main points there that I wanted to discuss that we didn't get to discuss within the live seminar. Again, I do apologize for that. It's still just a little bit hinky with the audio within the live seminar. I have let IT know, and they are on the ball with that. So hopefully by next Thursday, that will have a resolved issue for us. So I passed the main information. So we went over the discussion boards, we went over the live seminars, we went over the assignment aspects, we went over the doc sharing and the APA access. We touched a little bit on the prior work documentation. Remember, there are 3 important steps with it. Okay, you got to first find your documentation that meets the requirements that I have stated. Okay, and then 2, email it to me for the prior, to get the prior approval. Okay, I will email you back saying it's a go or a no-go. And then if it's a go, upload it to the Dropbox for that week's assignment, and there's 100%. So that's how the prior work documentation works. Okay. And then we went over a little bit of the course room content itself and the APA aspect in terms of the resources there. So definitely look to the APA documents to help you when you're writing your papers, okay? APA is a big thing, especially if you're looking at going for your bachelor's and for your master's in that. It's not going to go away. It's easier to learn it now than to have to learn it in your bachelor's or your master's courses. Trust me, I had to learn it late in the game, and it really was a bit of a struggle, and it hurt my grades in my bachelor's level courses because I just ignored it when I was going through courses earlier. So I will mark off of that. I will let you know what you did wrong on it, and so you can look to go ahead and improve on that. So. But that's all I have. This video is going to be up on YouTube, so you guys can access it because they're still having some issues with that live seminar aspect. But if you do have any questions beyond this, you can just go ahead and reach out to me, and I will touch base with you guys next Thursday during week 2's live seminar. Okay, everyone, take care and have a great night.